Scalpel. Thank you. Hope I get this right. I haven't slept in days. Oh no! Oh no!
I heard you can throw the football really well, Commish.
I can throw the football just as well as I like my rubs. Watch this. What? Objection, Your Honor. He's badgering the witness.
Sustained.
All right, so just finish off this next line of billion lines of code, and I'll have those guys betting all their money. There's no way they're gonna win at fantasy anymore. All this, betting. Anyways, I'm gonna call my bro. I gotta see what's happening. Hello? Hey bro, what's poppin'? Dak still making you wet dream? Baby, it's all good, bro. Oh, I got mustard on my favorite shirt. You know what, bro? I don't even know who to set up all this week in my lineup. Well, if you go this linebacker from Washington, they're paying a run-first offense, so that linebacker is guaranteed to get a bunch of volume, and that's how you will win this one. You're the best, man. How the hell do you know all this? You see any women around, bro? Good point, my brother. Good point. You know what? Thanks for all you did for this. There's no way I could ever win without you. I know this. Hey everyone, guess who's back? It's Commish, back here with another draft preview, and this time we got Danny and Billsy Bobs out of the Maple Leaf division. Our third team featured this time out of the Maple Leaf division. So far we've done Storm and the Mother Tucker. Now we get into what I would consider the contenders of the Maple Leaf division this year. And first off, Danny, I just want to say, you're definitely a fantasy brother. You've seen the drama and the bullshit that I've had to deal with here over the last, I guess 3 to 5 years. And you've always reached out and, you never got too involved, but you definitely provided me the support I needed to keep going as commish. Let's face it, Sean and Brandon, those two guys are low life pieces of shit, right? And I just think 2 years ago, Sean's title there is nothing but a farce. This created Acidul character that was created in that trade, the Tank Dell trade near the end. And then the fact that Brandon was setting his lineup, right? Like it just hurts me. But I just want to say thank you for your loyalty. And, if you look at this league now and the owners that are in there, it just has a different feel this year, doesn't it? And it just feels great. And I feel the LOC is back to be in the positive league that it has, been in the past. And I just want to say thank you so much for your ownership, Danny. Do think you're a great guy. So I'm going to share my screen and we'll get into your preview. And I'm excited to say for you, Danny, it's been a lot of years for you going through what I call the survival spiral. And we'll get into it and into your storylines, but I do feel that you're finally out of that survival spiral. When you joined this league, I mean, you're basically an original owner, but you basically came in I think the second year of existence of this format, and you took over a pretty shitty team, right? But you've been able to now finally get out of that spiral, and I think put yourself in a position to be near the top. So let's just get into your preview. So again, when I look at your keeper quality, it's pretty good, right? Like Josh Allen, I mean, top quarterback in the league. I think he might have been top in fantasy last year. I honestly don't recall. I know he was near the top three, right? So if he wasn't the top, he was definitely top three. And obviously, Josh Allen, I think you're a Buffalo Bills fan, right? So it's got to feel good when you're watching your team and you got your quarterback putting up points and he's putting up points for your fantasy team too, right? It's double the pleasure. So gotta love that. Who doesn't love double the pleasure? And then when we look at running backs here, I think just like I said for Krista's team with Derrick Henry, I think you just got to run Alvin Kamara now until the wheels fall off, right? You'll never get the value for him of what he's truly worth to somebody. Like someone's going to try to lowball you to get him, right? And they're going to say, oh, he's old as F now. And they're not wrong, right? I mean, you don't want to overpay for an old running back. I think the only way you could dump this guy is if all of a sudden things went awry for you and you just felt like you needed to rebuild some picks for next year. Maybe you could trade him to a contender at the deadline. But I don't think you're in that position. I think, you're in a decent situation here. So I think you'll be competing. The next running back, DeAndre Swift, the reviews are mixed on this guy. I've been reading fantasy websites that say they think he's going to have a good year. And then I'm reading fantasy websites that say this is why they drafted that guy in the seventh round. So, as part of your draft strategy. And again, when you're thinking about when you have some of these running backs that you're keeping that, but you're a bit unsure on, maybe set up a strategy to get his handcuff in the draft, right? I mean, that's always a pretty effective strategy. Yeah, I mean, that guy might not get points for you, but if Swift goes down or if he underperforms, then you have the other guy, right? So something to consider. Going into your wide receivers, well, Jamar Chase, right? I think he's WR1 in most websites, right? And in most people's opinion. So the thing about Cincinnati, their defense is atrocious. So the good news for people like you and me, because I have Joe Burrow, is likely going to be throwing the ball a lot because they're going to be behind because that defense isn't going to stop anybody, right? So you got to think they're going to try to throw to catch up, whether it's garbage time yards or whatever. We don't really care as long as it contributes to fantasy success, right? So Jamar Chase, great keeper. Here's where things get a bit dicey. I traded McMillan to you at the end of the year, but the situation was different at the end of the year. He was balling out. It looked like he had potential to be the WR2. Godwin, of course, was not under contract yet. And they didn't draft Amika Gbuka. So now all of a sudden you have these two other guys in the mix and it changes things up. So I would say, I know you traded a draft pick for him, but do you now have to turn and maybe look at a guy like Isaac Garendo who's gaining traction, or maybe it's Trey Benson? I mean, you drafted this guy 2 years ago. Are you going to give up on him, or, does he have a chance to take over for James Conner, right? And then looking at your IDP situation, yeah, the best linebacker in fantasy, Zaire Franklin, right? So the guy put up the most fantasy points, I believe, last year. So when you think about keeper quality right now, looking at your team, other than Jalen McMillan, I would say you're right near the top in terms of position groups. And looking at your pick scenario, yeah, you have a good pick scenario too. This is the good news. You're picking 15th this year in the first round. I think you'll still be able to get an impactful player there. You also got the three round four picks, which is obviously going to round out your offense or maybe get you into getting some really good IDPs. You got the no round eight, but I don't think that's going to affect you that much. So, yeah, I think it's a pretty good draft pick scenario for you, right? You got 11 picks in the first 10. It's always good to have an extra pick. And then even going into rounds 11 to 20, things are looking good for you there with, well, one extra pick again, right? So you got no picks in round 12 and 14, but you're doubling up in round 11, doubling up in round 15, 18, and 20. So I guess it's actually two extra picks, so 12 and 10. So yeah, great scenario, right? So you got 23 picks in the first 20 rounds, which essentially means, and you should be able to get either a really good defense or a lot of good depth players in those middle rounds. It basically means, yeah, you have three less picks here to end the last nine rounds, which is pretty phenomenal, or pretty decent pick scenario to be in, especially since you have Jamar Chase, Josh Allen. These are guys are top at their position, so I think it does definitely put you in a position to compete. No round 29, so you don't have to wait around for the last round if you don't want to. So yeah, you've done a really good job, Danny, of just finally getting to that point of being a contender, I feel. And when we look at, your draft pick positioning here, well, likely first pick because you have a nice balance, right? You got the quarterback, you got the two running backs, you got the two wide receivers as keepers. Likely first pick's probably going to be best available, right? When I look at who's best available or looking at the sleeper rankings of who that's going to be, you could go one way. You could go Matthew Golden and get a rookie wide receiver, but there's risk there. Or you go with established veterans like Jawan Jennings, Khalil Shakur, or Stephon Diggs. Khalil Shakur would set up the double dip for you for Josh Allen and Shakur if they ever got touchdowns. Or you add another running back like Najee Harris might be available in that range, right? But if you kept Trey Benson, then you're going for one of these wide receivers. So that's one thing to consider. I think the wide receivers are going to be available later in the first round as opposed to the running backs. I think running backs are going to go off the board extremely early, and there's a big need for teams at running back that are picking early in this draft. And then looking at the storylines for you, Danny. First off, we talked about it already, the survival spiral now to a contender. There was a lot of years there where you were trading at the deadline just to survive. That's the survival spiral. Think you're out of that now. You're a contender. You won the division a couple of years back. Very happy to see. We've already touched on it a little bit. Great keeper quality, right? Jamar Chase at the top of his position, Josh Allen at the top of his position. AK is a great running back. Swift could have a great year, right? So I think you have awesome keepers. Zaire Franklin, top of his position. Nobody's doubting your team. You got great keeper quality, which is what leads me to the last storyline there. I do think it's a three-horse race this year in the Maple Leaf division, and True North's gone, right? So now he's no longer a threat in that division. It opens up the door for you other original owners, and I think the division is between you, your bro Milan, and then my co Lucas. So I think it's going to be a great year. I think the Maple Leaf division is going to be one of the more exciting divisions to watch this year. Lately, I've been finding it is the Canadian divisions as well as the international that have been the most exciting, with the American kind of taking a back seat a little bit in terms of competitiveness. And then, of course, we had that idiot 2 years ago win it, who didn't deserve it, obviously, because he wasn't setting his lineup. So anyways, I just want to say, Danny, appreciate your support. Appreciate all, you giving me words of encouragement, I guess you could say, to just continue to do this. Recognize that, we just had a couple of guys that just, yeah, we don't need around here, right? And like I say, the league is now filled with quality brothers like yourself. And I just want to wish you the best of success this year. And honestly, I would love to see you win more than just a division title. Good luck this year, Danny.